You want to know how to make sushi? Watch this. It's so good. Okay, sushi is a very traditional Japanese dish. It comes in many different types. The three most common of those being sashimi, which is sliced raw fish as it is, nigiri, which is sliced raw fish on top of rice, and then there's also maki, which is ingredients with rice wrapped up in a seaweed leaf, also known as nori. The last of the three is what I'm going to be focusing on in this video because I want to keep it vegan and I feel like it's most applicable for vegan ingredients. First of all, I want to recreate some more commonly known rolls. I want to recreate the avocado cucumber roll. I also want to create an inside out roll, a panko fried tofu roll, and a dynamite roll. I then want to try also some more unconventional experimental-ish rolls, a bell pepper roll, a sweet potato roll, a celery roll, and a sun-dried tomato roll, because why not? Can you see me? Because sushi is rolled into like a long cylindry shape, we also gotta keep our pieces of food long and thin if possible. For the cucumber rolls, it is recommended to take a spoon and take out the inner parts because they're a bit squishy. And if it's edible, don't throw it away, eat it. Let's get to deep frying. I haven't done this a ton. Let's try it. So what you're going to want to do is dip your food in a 1-to-1 mixture of flour and water, then roll it around in some panko crumbs, and then fry them in oil. But be careful, things can get dangerous when frying. Okay, I just quickly want to show you the dynamite sauce recipe, which is extremely simple. It's 1 part vegan mayo and 1 part sriracha, that's it. I'm gonna try it now. The sauce is okay, actually. Before you cook your rice, it is extremely important to wash it several times to get all of the starch out. Otherwise, the rice is going to be extremely sticky and you will not be able to properly work with it at all. After we've cleansed our rice, we need to cook it according to the package instructions. In my case, that means I'll have to add 1.5 times as much water as I had rice. And then, to get that signature sushi rice flavor, this is extremely important. Per every 3 sushi rolls, or per 1 cup of uncooked rice, mix in about 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of salt, and 3 tablespoons of rice vinegar. For more detailed measurements and everything else you will need, I'll leave a link below with which you can exactly calculate how much rice, water, and other ingredients you need for your rice. These are the things that are going in our sushi. So besides the fillings, of course we need some rice, nori seaweed, black and white sesame seeds, green cheese, bamboo mat, a little bit of water. It's gonna help us keep the rice from sticking to our fingers. That's why we're just gonna dot our fingers in the water. This is the fun part, the assembly. As you may see, there is a rather shiny and 1 more rough side to each nori paper. What I'm gonna do is have the rough side face upwards and place the rice on that side. Okay, I'm wetting my fingers, taking some rice, and then delicately disperse the rice amongst the whole sheet. So it's recommended to cover all of the seaweed so there's no gaps, but also don't have like a thick layer, just a thin layer, because otherwise the sushi is going to be very wide. It's going to be very tasting a lot like rice because there's more rice. So this can be a bit tricky at first. Just take your time, take your water, and if the first ones are not going to be good, it's kind of like first pancake. You'll learn as you go. I've done this a couple of times. So next, I will take my fillings. This is my avocado. Place it in the middle, then do what I'm doing basically. Okay, that's a bad explanation. Let me try again. Carefully lift the bamboo mat at the end that is closest to you and move it towards the other end. This will automatically slowly roll the sushi. You can exercise slight downwards pressure with your other hand when doing this to ensure the sushi will become compact enough. And once the whole of the sheet is rolled up, use the mat to apply some pressure towards you to further compact the roll. This will give you a circular roll and you can move it back and forth if you want, like I did. But if you want to have a rectangular sushi roll, basically do the same, and then additionally use your fingers to apply pressure by running them along both sides and the top. This will force the sushi roll to become more quadratic, and then you'll have more rectangular pieces. And then last but not least, to make the inside out roll, place some rice on the sheet as usual, but then add about an extra inch of rice outside of the sheet. You can top it off with some sesame seeds if you like, before flipping the whole thing over. Then you can add your fillings as usual and roll it up, and you're done. Also not that hard. Okay, so what I also wanted to mention is that I am actually kind of impatient when it comes to making food, and with sushi it can take some time to get through all of the steps, so I wanted to see if I can save some time in the grand scheme of things by making this big batch of sushi once and then freezing it all up, because that was my plan. I wanted to make this once and then get a whole lot out of it by de-thawing pieces of sushi over the following days. Which I'm gonna test later if that even works, but what I wanted to say is that, of course, this isn't the most authentic way of making sushi, and also putting sweet potato into sushi is also not that traditional, but I wanted to acknowledge that culturally this isn't the most traditional way to eat sushi, but over the years the dish has become so globalized that people have put their own spin to it, and this is what I wanted to try, and I hope it doesn't offend anybody. Anyways, now that we're done with assembling the sushi, let's do some cutting. This is what we're gonna use to cut. However, I need this. This is a knife sharpening tool. It somehow doesn't really work. Be careful. Having a sharp knife is so important, because what you don't want is it to be dull and then it just completely diverges into a muddy whatever. Instead of pulling the force down, more back and forth so it cuts through without pushing too much. Cut it in half. And now cut those in half or in thirds as you want. If you feel like there's too much rice residue on your knife, take a damp cloth and carefully wipe it off. Soy sauce, which in Japanese, in the Japanese style, it's named shoyu. Don't know how to make this thumbnail. I'm making weird faces. Before Japanese people eat, they thank whomever made the food by saying, "Itadakimasu." Hope I said that right. Oh, yeah. Classic. Very good. Cucumber, tofu fried, panko fried. Love that one. Inside out roll. Amazing. Dynamite roll. Bell pepper. No, 5 out of 10. Sweet potato, 6 out of 10. Celery. I have high hopes for this one. About a 7.5 out of 10, I guess. Doesn't knock me over. And now, for this I have the highest hopes, because I really love dried tomatoes. I should have, 7.5. I should have just stuck with the ones that already have stood the test of time. So again, I wanted to test whether or not I can still eat the sushi if I meal prepped it, meaning if I freeze it up for it to hold longer, will it still taste good if I then de-thaw it afterwards? I tested that out with one roll of sushi that was not yet cut, and another one that I cut up into pieces before they went into freezing. Let's find out. I froze this in an airtight container, so do that as well. This is a pre-cut sushi piece, and this is one that I've cut only after it was de-thawed. Not much difference. Just keep in mind, it's best to freeze them as soon as they're done, meaning if you put it in the freezer sooner, it's gonna hold for longer. Yeah, it still is delicious. If I just want to eat some sushi, I can just pick it out of the fridge and eat it. Like, not directly after de-thaw it. Sweet potato is just not my favorite. I'm gonna enjoy these last 3 pieces. I'm gonna say goodbye now. Maybe you learned something. Just make sushi yourself. It's so much fun, especially with a friend. Anyways, thank you for watching, and thanks for the memories.